the two greatest words in sports, Game 7. However, it was not a great Game 7 for the Indiana Pacers and Tyrese Halliburton. Tonight, we also break down the latest breaking news in the NBA and more. Our Nation Sports Show is next. Our Nation Sports Show. Tonight, on a Nation Sports Show, we conclude our coverage of the 2025 NBA Finals. We also break down the latest breaking news in the NBA. And reportedly, Aaron Rodgers at the end of this year's NFL regular season will call it a career. Join us tonight as we break down the world of sports.
Good up to the court, talking all that is sport, breaking down the latest news, scores, and more. Welcome to our Nation Sports Show.
It's 7 o'clock. We're live, and you know what that means. It is time for another edition of our Nation Sports Show. We are just past the 3 minutes, top of the hour. Wait. Did I just hear myself say 3 minutes? Yes, we are almost at the 3-minute of the top of the hour. Yes, and Ezra, I know you're watching this. I did play the 3-minute warning theme song and shared it into the Zoom before we went live. So, yes, I continue that tradition, and it is one of the greatest traditions on this show. But too bad we can't play that on the air because that is copyright, and we don't want to get hit with copyright strikes. But what we're going to hit you with is with some opinions and facts in the world of sports. And tonight, I am your host for this evening, Stephen Wyand. And before we get to my co-host for this evening, we have to plug the social media platforms. Up first on Twitter, or as the kids call it these days, X, at ON_sports show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show, and where we are live right now, where it is currently, yes, 3 minutes past the top of the hour. 3 minutes? Oh, I can't stop doing it, baby. Yes, YouTube.com/Nation Sports Show, where we are live right now, getting ready to talk about the NBA Finals as we wrap up that. You can also follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner, Facebook.com at The Nation's Corner, Instagram at The Nation's Corner, where the guys and gal are live on most Saturday nights where it's all right for fighting, at YouTube.com/The Nation's Corner. Now that we got all the quote-unquote bills out of the way, we ain't getting paid for this. What am I talking about? Right now, joining me live and in color right now, it is great to be alive, or what, on a Tuesday night, as CM Punk would say. My man, my brother from another mother, JT, Joey Thornton. What's going on, man?
Mr. Dave Grohl lookalike. How you doing this fine evening?
Man, I'm doing pretty damn good, I must say. I must say so myself. I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking. How are you? How you doing?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I'm not feeling, and that is Or actually, as I would say in the words of one and only Big Cass, I am not one word to describe me, and I'm gonna spell it out for you. S-A-W-I-T. So
Oh, coming in hot. And
But what's
yes,
going on, everybody? Glad to be back in the co-host chair this week, and I'm gonna have my camera turned off for just a little bit. But don't worry, you'll get to see this precious face at some point. I gotta eat me some dinner before I can show my face on camera, but I will be on camera in just a little bit. But until then, we got some sports to talk about, including some NBA Finals coverage, which we
and
have a
some
new
NBA
NBA
news.
champion. So without
Yes,
further ado, let's get started, shall we?
yes, let's get started. And before we do, I do want to mention this here real quick, even though we're not a music show, but I do want to make mention of the passing of one of the greatest guitar players of his era, Mick Ralphs, legendary guitar player for the supergroup Bad Company and Mott the Hoople. And Mick Ralphs, unfortunately, has passed away at the age of 81 years old. He passed yesterday, and I could not think of a better time to pay tribute than to the great Mick Ralphs. This guy wrote a lot of great riffs and a lot of great songs with Paul Rodgers and Simon Kirke and Bad Company. Wrote some great stuff with Mott the Hoople and so much more. I mean, his sound was so recognizable. I mean, anytime you have heard any of Bad Company songs on classic rock radio or radio stations in general, his sound is very recognizable. And I mean, one of the greatest supergroups of their time and one of the supergroups that became so famous off their debut album. And it's amazing to think that over 50 years later, you would still hear songs such as Can't Get Enough and the title track Bad Company and Moving On and Rock Steady and Feel Like Making Love and Shooting Star and Good Love and Gone Bad and stuff like that. I mean, just countless and Rock and Roll Fantasy. I mean, Mick had a hand in those songs and obviously had a hand in bringing in the song Ready for Love, a Mott the Hoople song, over to Bad Company. And Paul lended his phenomenal voice to that song. And again, our condolences, our thoughts, and our prayers to the family and the friends of the legendary Mick Ralphs. And tonight, I must say, we are ready to rock steady. And we're going to rock steady on as we talk about the NBA Finals. And before we get to that, there was some breaking news that came down a few minutes ago. And Joey, you told me this just a few minutes ago before we put on these microphones and went live. What was, for those that don't know, what is the breaking news going on right now in the NBA? Because as we know, trades are happening right now before the draft and the offseason gets underway.
Well, the big breaking news that was posted in our chat actually by the one and only Ezra Vickery, who unfortunately couldn't be with us tonight, is the fact that a three-team trade has taken place in the NBA between the Boston Celtics, the Atlanta Hawks, and the Brooklyn Nets. The trade details are as follows. Boston is sending Kristaps Porzingis and a second-round pick to the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks are sending Terrence Mann and their number 22 pick in tomorrow night's draft to the Nets. And the Boston Celtics are getting Georges Niang and a second rounder.
Very, very interesting. And, I guess it is safe to say that Kristaps Porzingis is once again moving on from town to town. Yeah, another Bad Company reference right there for those that don't know. If you've never heard that song, go check it out. It's a great song. I know Ezra will get that, and I know my buddy Bo will get that. Thank you very much, gentlemen. But yeah, when you look at what is happening right now with the Boston Celtics, they have traded not just Kristaps Porzingis, But Drew Holiday reportedly is going to be traded to the Portland Trailblazers. And coincidentally, that is where Holiday was supposed to end up 2 years ago, but the Celtics got him a couple years ago when they won that title.
And Boston got Trailblazer Anthony Simmons in return.
Yes, they did. And when you look at what the Celtics are doing right now, they are essentially, once again, rebuilding. And they are getting new pieces. You know, they're getting acquisitions on trades, and probably they're going to go into the free agent signings, you know, spree and see who they can find. Because as we know, Tatum will not be back next year with his Achilles injury. And Jaylen Brown, I mean, those guys are being paid a boatload of money. And Derek White obviously wants money too. Now, probably Derek White, he probably, I would think, would be staying with the team, because now that Drew Holiday is gone, now that Kristaps Porzingis is gone, that saves over 40 some odd million bucks in the cap space, and also with the luxury tax. And it's going to be very interesting to see how some of these teams do, because Joey, as you know, in the world of the NBA for the last 7 years, no team is promised to keep their core. And as we predicted, the Boston Celtics in Madison Square Garden as the team that we knew them, with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Kristaps Porzingis and Derek White and Drew Holiday, Al Horford, those guys played their final game as a team in Madison Square Garden against the Knicks in game number 5. Or game 6, excuse me. And this also brings up another interesting point. If you can win a championship, which they did, be grateful you did. Because that core team, if they would have lost to the Mavericks 2 seasons ago, they would have never won a championship together. But they did. And nobody can take away that championship that the Boston Celtics won in the 2023-24 season. And that's why, if you are in the finals, and we're going to get to that, if you are in the finals, you have to capitalize. Seize the day. And seize the moment. Right. Because you never know. You never know. You never know that the time of the window of opportunity of winning a championship is slim. And when you look at what the Celtics have done and what they are doing right now, they are moving pieces around to free up money in the cap space. And this just proved our point a couple of months ago when we talked about how the Celtics were going to probably lose a lot of key pieces, and they have. Holiday and Porzingis are already gone from the team.
Well, yeah, because they paid a total of $630 million to Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Mm-hmm. And if they would have kept Porzingis and Holiday, that would have put them way over the luxury tax, and they would have to pay. And they don't want to do that. And I honestly don't blame them, because they already won a championship. And
that's true.
But if they didn't win a championship, maybe they would have kept some of those pieces. Who knows? But it's going to be interesting to see what the Celtics do.
Oh, yeah. But for those of y'all who may not know, there was that's not even the biggest trade that has taken place.
No, it's not the biggest trade. Nope.
Because let's get to this one that broke. I believe it was this past Thursday afternoon around 2:15, 2:30 Eastern time. After weeks and weeks and weeks of speculation, the one and only Kevin Durant is on the move once again, going from the Phoenix Suns to the Houston Rockets.
To clarify, this was on Sunday. And
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Sunday.
And this also happened of all things, this happened in the middle of Durant's panel at the Fanatics Fest in New York City. And somebody was giving him a signal like, dude, you're being traded. And they're trying to get his attention. They finally got his attention. They said, you're being traded. So that happened while he was on a panel. And that is wild. And honestly, and Kevin was here with me over the weekend hanging out. And I said, dude, he's been traded to he said, to where? I said, to the Rockets. He said, what they give up? I said, they traded Green and they traded, oh my God. What's his face?
They traded, the Suns traded Durant to the Houston Rockets. And here's everything that Phoenix is getting in return. They're getting Jalen Green, the one and only famous
Derrick Brooks.
Derrick Brooks.
Yep. That's the name that was escaping me. Yep. Green and
the number 10 pick in tomorrow night's draft and 5 second-round picks.
Hey,
and
speak of
ladies
the
and
devil.
gentlemen, speak of the devil. Here is the one and only Kevin Rory, and he came on at just the right time because we're talking about the Kevin Durant trade.
What's up, fellas? What's going
What's going on,
K-Rod?
I was just hanging out with this fella on Sunday.
Yeah, just another hot-ass day in this hot-ass place. You know how it goes.
Uh-huh. That's right.
Yes.
But yeah, we were talking about this trade, man. I mean, and you hit the nail on the head on Sunday when we were hanging out that the Rockets won this trade because they didn't lose very much at all.
No, they kept their number one guy. They kept their number two guy. They kept their best bench player. They kept their best role players. I mean, they pretty much kept and they didn't give up their future. They gave up their one first-round pick and a bunch of seconds. That means next year they've got their own first-round pick. So they literally did not salvage their future. Meanwhile, Orlando giving up 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bane is absolutely crazy to me when Kevin Durant doesn't even garnish but a couple of second-round picks. That's wild.
Absolutely. And when you think about, this news that broke, I think in the long run, I think Durant, got traded to the right spot because he's banking on, the team making the right offer to find the right, partner, to take the deal. And I think the Rockets really was the best, spot for him to land because I think that, oh, look at that.
Man, who the heck is this joker getting on here?
What up, bitches?
What's going on, Ez?
What the hell, man? What a surprise.
Hey, guys. Yep, got my AC problems fixed thanks to a little ingenuity from my mother. We got things fixed. Everything's finally cool again. It doesn't feel like a fuck in the middle of hell. So finally, I'm here. Steven, I know you got reins to the show today. I really don't want to. I don't want to host. I just want to be a normal guy today. You could be the idiot douchebag who barely knows anything about sports. Oh wait. Oh wait. That's our former host. Never mind.
Yeah, that guy.
Who will remain nameless?
Hey,
who the hell is that guy?
Man, because,
anyways,
I mean, Ezra, it's all good because I'm here cooking in my own house too. So you ain't the only one that's been battling AC problems.
Well, we have 2 units in the house. Both are 11,000 BTUs. We have one in the front room, which cools the front room and some of the hallway in the kitchen. Then we have mine, which cools my bedroom and hallway a little bit. But at night, like during the shows, I have the door closed, so all the cold air stays in my room. But because it's been like 90, 95, almost 100 degrees, these fuckers can't keep up. So you have to make do with what you have. So I have that on, and I have a fan above my head and a fan facing me right now. So that way I can finally stop sweating like a whore in church.
I heard that, man. Yeah, it's been hot as crap here as well. Almost 100 degrees. Everybody out there that is being affected by this heat wave, please stay cool. I mean,
Yeah, if your air goes out, if you don't have any way to get it fixed, go to a cooling center. I'm sure there's one nearby you. If you're not, check your local your city ordinances and city websites to see where they're available. Drink plenty of water. If you're susceptible to heat, if you have anything like seizures or any sort of health medical problems related to the heat, try to stay out of it as little as possible. Stay inside. Drink plenty of fluids. Drink plenty of water. Anything with electrolytes. Stay safe. But I heard you guys talking about the KD trade, and I agree with Kev. It's a pretty smart trade. They didn't really give up that much, and they got a great player. So I'm not surprised this trade happened. I'm surprised the way KD found out. And the way he found out was at the Fanatics Fest at the Javits Center in New York City. He was literally on stage at a panel, and the fans were pointing out to him and to the female host who was there that the news broke that he was being traded. So he literally found out on stage as everybody else was finding out live.
Wait, I thought it was called the Yavita Center, or Yavit Center, as Denise would say. But anyways, yeah,
Yeah. But Denise Salcedo has every right to be wrong.
Yes. That actually was funny. But she learned real quick. But yeah, this trade was very interesting because the manner that it went down, because I do not recall any athlete in the middle of a panel being told, "Hey, but you're being traded." And he had a very natural, reaction to being traded. I mean, we talked about it, Kevin. I mean, it's a very interesting way of being traded. And I think it's a win-win situation for Durant. I think he's going to do very good with Houston. And Houston, I think, did what they had to do to find a piece to the puzzle to fit. And I think Durant is going to bring his experience and his scoring mentality to these young Rockets, and he's going to teach them how to play team ball even more.
Yeah, I like it for Durant. I said specifically when the season was over, who does Houston need more, Giannis or Durant? And while Giannis right now is a better player than Durant, Giannis can't shoot either. The Rockets need shooting. I'm going to read you some statistics. Last year, Durant shot 69% on mid-range to three-point shots combined. The Rockets were 27th in the NBA in jump shots. They couldn't make a jump shot. They couldn't make a three. All they could do is use Amin Thompson and Şengün's athleticism and their post offense and getting to the rim. They could not score. Against Golden State, when that shit was shut down, they could not score whatsoever. They didn't have a guy. Now you get a guy in Kevin Durant, and now I think the biggest loser of this whole trade is Phoenix, because why the fuck do you got 6 shooting guards on your roster? And another thing is that
6 shooting guards. Like, come on.
You got Dylan Brooks, Grayson Allen, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker. I'm like, what? But one, not for long, because it's been reported yesterday, as of yesterday, Devin Booker has officially requested a trade. He wants out.
Jeez. That's just way too many guards. Like, come on, man. That's like having too many chefs in the kitchen. I mean, too many cooks in the kitchen. Like, come on. Like, yeah, I think Houston, or not Houston, I think Phoenix is going to be one of those teams, just like the Celtics are going to be in rebuilding mode, and they're going to have a huge drop-off. And we also talked about that too briefly, Kev, before you and Ez came on, that this trade with Porzingis and with Holiday being dealt to the Trailblazers, and I believe you said Porzingis,
Hawks.
Joey, is going to the Hawks, respectively. Yep. The Celtics, just like the Suns, are in complete rebuilding mode, and plus the Celtics did not want to take a huge hit with the luxury tax because they were already giving up $600+ million to two players, $300 million apiece with Tatum and Brown respectively. And I think that in the long run, I think that Houston, out of all these teams so far, has won these trades.
Yeah, but I seen that coming with Boston because the new CBA basically blocks you from having any kind of dynasties in the NBA, as we've seen 7 different champions since 2019, and I believe the trend's going to continue. The last real dynasty was the Golden State Warriors, and I think that's going to be the last one for a while because of the way the CBA and the Celtics are basically. They've kicked that can down the road so long they can't kick it down no more. Now you got to get rid of Holiday. Now you got to get rid of Porzingis. I've also heard that Jaylen Brown was on the table. I've also heard Derek White's a possibility to get up out of there.
Wow.
Only person I heard that was safe for the Boston Celtics is Jason Tatum. I heard Brown was on the table for the right price. I heard Derek White was on the table for a decent, cheap price, and as well as we've seen Porzingis and Drew Holiday.
Well,
Man.
I will say one thing real quick. If Boston makes the move to trade Jaylen Brown, literally one season after giving him the $300 million contract, knowing that Jason Tatum's going to be out for the majority of this upcoming season, that's going to put Boston in a downward tailspin for sure.
Obviously, you got to get a return package. They did say the key words at the right price. So if I'm looking at it and I can trade, and I know he's older, or like certain players are, but if I could trade Jaylen Brown straight up for another star, like kind of like flipped how the Luka and AD trade went down. I know that ain't a good comparison, but star for star, and I know if I'm getting a decent star cheaper, then Boston might entertain it. Like, you know what? We get somebody for the right price, why not? What if here? I know it ain't possible, but what if Denver lost their fucking mind and said, you know what, Jokic wants out, let's give him to Boston for Jaylen Brown? If you're Boston, would you not take that?
Hell yeah, take it.
Tatum, hell yeah, I would. I'm like, shit. I know when Jokic can hold it down by himself till Tatum gets back or something like that. Like I'm in a top 10 player.
Hey, check out this realistic option. Like you said, Jaylen Brown is on the table at the right price. So hey, what if Milwaukee comes calling and say, "Hey, we'll take Jaylen Brown, and you guys can take Giannis."
See,
yeah,
and that's actually a true realistic option because Giannis is way less cheaper and has a different play style. So good work.
Absolutely. And it's going to be interesting as the offseason progresses on how we're going to see with these moves that happen down the line because, man, the frenzy is just getting underway.
Yeah, especially we talk about trades. I just want to mention how bad the Sacramento Kings front office looks. Jesus Christ. Someone said a report came out that they were searching for a point guard. Hello, you idiots. You just had Tyrese Halliburton and then had De'Aaron Fox and traded both of them away. Talking about searching for a point guard. Oh, my. Yeah, I bet you are. You traded away 2 all-pro point guards.
And the most idiotic managing job goes to the Sacramento Kings.
The Sacramento Queens.
Thank you, Rock, for that one. 21 or 22 years ago. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with the offseason. And also tomorrow, the NBA draft is upon us at the Barclays for 2 nights. And more than likely, I would assume that the Dallas Mavericks are going to be going with Cooper Flag as the number 1 overall pick. And it will be also interesting to see over these next couple of days, will there be trades when it comes to having players involved of coming from teams to other teams for draft picks and stuff? Because we've seen that happen from time to time.
Yeah, but Nico Harrison has the chance to do the funniest thing ever, and that's not draft Cooper Flag.
I know.
I'm telling you, if if Nico does not pull, if Nico does not demand that the Mavericks draft Cooper Flag, the Mavericks fans that might be in attendance tomorrow night are going to be saying, "Off with Nico's head! Off with Nico's head!"
They're all
And
going to be on
somebody,
suicide watch.
and somebody will have that gif of that guy going, "Boo this man!"
And I think also talking about the draft, that is what people are also critiquing, like predicting when they talk about the West. Like, oh, did Kevin Durant make the Rockets better? Yes. Are the Rockets better than OKC? Probably not. Are the Rockets championship contenders? Yes. But is it still wide open in the West? Yes. Because look at how it's just like this year. It's going to be even more wild. Say Dallas does do the right thing. Get Cooper Flag. You got a young superstar in, let's say for some miraculous reason he stays healthy, you got Anthony Davis out there to take the load off of Cooper Flag. You got Kyrie Irving, if he can come back strong, to take the load off from Cooper Flag. You have all these centers, bigs that can help out and let Cooper Flag. He doesn't have to come in like LeBron James in '03 and just be, okay, you're the number one guy on your first game ever as an 18-year-old kid. He doesn't have to do that. He can come in and slowly learn into his role and let Anthony Davis and Kyrie work. So everybody's predicting that the Mavericks really can make noise next year, along with the Rockets. Where everybody's predicting about the Spurs getting Giannis. Can Wemby and Giannis? They might be over the top. Like the West is going to be even more wide open.
Yep. And the parity for the NBA, and Kevin, we talked about this on Sunday, the parity for the NBA, this has been much needed for quite some time because anybody now has a shot to win it all.
Yeah, they definitely do.
And it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, except for the Hornets.
Yeah, I heard the Hornets are looking at Cooper Flag's teammate, Con Kneipel, which could be a decent pickup. Could be. But let's also talk just a teensy bit about the trade that broke earlier this afternoon that Kevin put in our chat, and that is the New Orleans Pelicans are trading CJ McCollum, Kelly Olynyk, and a future second-round pick to the Washington Wizards for Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and the number 40 pick in Wednesday's draft.
Well, let's hope that Poole doesn't get into a fight with his teammates. Oops.
I mean, that could be a little interesting. I just think Draymond Green punched the talent out of Jordan Poole because he wasn't never the same after that. That poor fella went from being a Steph Curry alike to he won't even shoot like Dwight Howard now. I don't know what the hell happened to him, but I think it's interesting. The Pelicans chose to get younger. I do not expect CJ McCollum to stay on Washington. I think that's just the place where they're going to take your trade to take the money off and then cut you, give you a chance to go to a contending team. I can honestly easily see CJ McCollum joining a contending team in the East, specifically someone like the New York Knicks, who clearly need the bench depth, clearly need a shooting guard that can shoot. I can definitely see CJ being cut and going to a team like that. Maybe Boston if he takes a pay. I mean, there's plenty of options, but I just don't see him sticking in Washington.
Yeah. Yeah. I really don't think nobody really won that trade. I mean, McCollum's been all over the place now. And ever since those days with Damian Lillard, I mean, and the Trailblazers have been gone. CJ's been not having, as great, of a consistent, years because, I mean, he's been on some bad teams and stuff. And we'll see what happens. But, moving on to talking about the NBA Finals. And before we get to the uncertainty, for both the Thunder and the Pacers as they move forward, let's go over these last two games. And Game 6 is pretty cut and dry. Indiana, with their backs against the wall, showed up at Gainbridge Fieldhouse and absolutely put on a clinic against the Thunder in that game. And just an unbelievable performance by this Indiana team, forcing a game 7, completely dominated the Thunder pretty much from the opening tip, except for the first several minutes of the game when the Pacers missed their first 8 shots from the field. And then they just went on this run where they were hitting shot after shot, and they were defending very well. They were smothering Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams. And Jalen Williams, let's talk about that for a second. How do you go from having a 40-point performance in Game 5 on your home floor to being a minus 40 in Game 6? Like, that was so bad. And they looked lost in Game 6. And Halliburton, with the calf injury in Game 6, considering he had the strained calf, he played pretty well in Game 6. He had 14 points and hit a couple of threes, and he looked pretty good, heading into Game 7, when it was a complete team win, and McConnell and Siakam and the rest of the team showed up and played very good, forced it to Game 7, and then Game 7 comes. And guys, we have seen it in all sports. We have seen championship games. We have seen playoff games. We have seen it happen across every, league in sports when it comes to these big games. They will be known by names, and this one is no exception. This will not be known as a Stone Cold Classic because going into this game, we were so hyped for this game. But with less than 5 minutes to go in the first quarter, everything changed. When Halliburton went down with a torn Achilles. And you hate to see it happen. And look, I'm a Boston fan. My team's been out since the Knicks beat them in 6. But at the end of the day, I'm a basketball fan. I love sports. We all love sports. The 4 of us on this show, we love sports. We love to see competitive, sportsmanship, by two competitive teams that are laying it out there on the floor. And at the end of the day, Gilgeous-Alexander might play for the Thunder. Halliburton might play for the Pacers. But at the end of the day, they're human beings. And they respect one another. And Gilgeous-Alexander was over there greeting him and consoling him, and as Halliburton is just in unimaginable, excruciating pain, bawling, and they reached nearly the top of the mountain, and then this happens? Because I'm going to be honest with you guys. Now, I know Indiana kept it close, and I want to get your thoughts on this, Ez, but when it comes to the flow of this game, because I'm going to be honest with you, when Halliburton went out with that torn Achilles, that took me out of the game because no matter what happened, unless Indiana would have won that game, that injury killed them mentally, and they were having to play the game for him, and everything changed. And I really think that injury changed the flow of the game on how that game was probably going to go.
Yeah. I mean, my honest true opinion, real quick, it did change the mentality, but you also got to keep in mind before Ez gives his thoughts. Even though Halliburton did go down with that torn Achilles, the Pacers kept it really close in the first half. They even took a 1-point lead into the locker rooms at halftime. So you can't have these Pacer fans say, oh, well, if Halliburton would have played the whole game, we would have won. I mean, you can't just look at it from that kind of perspective because they're all athletes. I mean, they are athletes, but they're also human beings, like you said, Steven. Injuries happen. Injuries are a part of the game. And since this Pacers roster was so deep, they could have easily chosen a next person to take over as the aforementioned team leader whenever Halliburton went down. But Ez, what's your thoughts?
Reality, you're right, Joe. injuries do happen. And I do believe that it did damper the morale of the team. But like you said, one guy goes down, the next guy's got to step up. To me, the guy that did, there were two guys that I thought tried to step up and do their best. But I think that they were just wore out. I think that the pace they tried to keep in this game it was just they were just starting to finally get worn down. The two men that tried was Pascal Siakam, who was leading the team in the huddles after Halliburton went down. The other is TJ McConnell. McConnell, the past two games, came in there and absolutely dominated. For a guy who only plays 20-something minutes, he came in there and he, at one point in game 6, had 17 points in 19 minutes. And then in this game, he had another 16 points in, I think, 20 minutes. The guy's been playing out of his mind. But I do agree that there is a mentality thing when somebody goes down. But especially when they're the leader of your team, especially when they're de facto leader of your team and a star. But you can't place it all just on that. You have to look at your talent pool and you have to kick it into that next gear, and the next person has to step up. That's just my opinion. And it's not that they didn't step up. I just think that it's just, to me, Oklahoma City played a better game. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was on fire. Jalen Williams started to get hot. And Chet, what's his name? Hartenstein had some good blocks. Holmgren getting in the paint. And that, to me, that's been the Achilles heel of the Indiana Pacers, was the paint, because of how good they are in passing. You get Chet Holmgren in the paint, you get Hartenstein in the paint, Williams, it doesn't matter. If they have that open space and are able to get in there, it's either a guaranteed layup or a guaranteed dunk. It's hard to stop a team like Oklahoma City when they got that much open space in that area. So for me, personally, it's a lot of different factors. I just think that the Tyrese Halliburton thing, while it was a devastating blow to that team, I don't think it was the critical thing that took them down. And also, in the third quarter of Game 7, 9 turnovers. 9 turnovers. That should never... You shouldn't have that many turnovers in a quarter, let alone a half. And to me, that killed them in that.
They had 5 turnovers at the end of the first half.
They had 5 turnovers at the end of the first half. And they had 9 in the third quarter alone.
Those turnovers killed them. And before we get to Kev, I do want to bring this up too. And fortunately for the Thunder, now, I don't know who made the idea to do this, but this was very bold. A video went viral showing that there were already buses out with saying Oklahoma City 2025 champions before the game even happened. And I'm telling you, just how Halliburton started 3 for 3. I'm like, oh shit. He don't piss him off. And the way he was playing, he hit 3 of their first 4 triples. Now, again, we don't know if Indiana was going to win, because at the end of the day, they won with him there, and obviously not when he went out. But the likelihood of this being close probably would have been a lot more if Halliburton didn't get injured, especially the way he was playing in those first 6 minutes. The way he was moving and shooting the ball. I mean, and the Thunder got very lucky that, nothing went against them, and the injury bug bit the Pacers at the worst possible time. Because I'm telling you, man, if Oklahoma City would have lost this game, we would not be talking about this game to start off the show. We will be talking about the complete egotistical move to put that stuff on a bus, because anybody would use that as motivation. And Indiana, up until the injury, used that as motivation to add fuel to the fire. They did. Now, would they have won? Who knows? But I do think that the likelihood this game being close would have been a lot more amplified if Tyrese does not go down with the injury. Kevin, I know you brought this up too in our chat. that this injury was the same situation of like Jason Tatum. He just moved and then snap, Achilles torn. KD, same thing. Same thing with Kevin Durant. He comes back from an initial calf injury, comes back, moves the wrong way, boom, Achilles snaps. Same type of injury that Kevin Durant suffered in the finals. And the same thing happened to Golden State, just like it did to Indiana.
Yeah, but I will say this: as far as the injuries concerned, and I'm a Halliburton guy. I've defended him from idiots like Stephen A. Smith who claim he's no star at all and no superstar, this and that. I've defended him all season long, essentially. You can't use the injury as an excuse because if was a fifth, we would all be drunk. That's the saying. If OKC didn't blow game one, it might not even went to game seven. Let's just acknowledge that because they blew game one. So, but the reason why I say you can't use the injury as an excuse, just like earlier this year, Draymond Green said it best. He said, "Hey, I can't use Steph getting hurt the reason why we lost to Minnesota because guess what? We've won championships because of people getting hurt. We're just on the bad side of the ball right now." Same way with Indiana. Did they not beat the Knicks in Madison Square Garden in Game 7 last year because of Jalen Brunson being hurt?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like,
Yes,
okay.
they did.
They just caught the shit into the stick this year. They lost because of Tyrese Halliburton getting hurt. With that being said, prayers go out to Halliburton, man. I love the guy. He's a superstar. He doesn't have to score 20 points like apparently people think a superstar has to do. What he does is much more important. He quarterbacks that team and he gets the pace right. Like you said, when he went down, the whole pace for the second half was fucked up for Indiana. So he is the reason they get out and run. He's the reason they get the ball up and down the floor. He's the reason they get open looks.
Because now you got McConnell trying to, to front the team, as the point guard, and he's not a good sized guy to maneuver passes.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but him going out proves maybe it might shut these haters up about how much of a superstar he really is because he was valuable to that team. And when he went out, everybody in their hero, TJ McConnell, couldn't replicate it. That's what he is. That's what he brings to the table. But with that being said, I mean, would it made a difference? Hell yeah. But we don't know if Indiana would have won. We don't know because OKC, quite frankly, have been pure dominant at home. And I just want to say one thing for a minute. I that was wrong about the buses. How confident they was, a bold move. But Indiana did it game 6. They broke out the game 7 hats. That was pretty bold too. You could have got your ass knocked out in game 6 and then you look dumb because you made game 7 hats. The Knicks tried that shit too when Indiana bounced them. Talk about, oh, we're going back to game 7. No, you didn't. I mean, it's just, it might have gave OKC that extra motivation. I mean, same way it gave Indiana that motivation. But the amount of disrespect I see for OKC right now is insane. I get their offense is not really that fun to watch. It's a bunch of ISO ball. It's Jalen Williams 1-on-1. It's Shea pick and roll 1-on-1. Shea gets fouls. They get a lot of foul calls. For one, I'm sick of people that don't know basketball really piss me off when they're like, I don't like watching Shea. He gets to the free throw line. It's a part of the game. Get over it. I mean, geez, that's like trying to say, oh, I don't like watching this such and such NFL team play because they run the football 40 times. I want to see passes. I want to see him throw. It's a part of the fucking game. Get over it. Shea gets to the line and okay, and I'll defend Shea on this. Take away his free throws. Guess what? He still averages 27 a game. He's still top 3 in the NBA in scoring. So where do the other 27 points come from? He's just a bucket getter.
Not just that, but he also brought back real quick the mid-range jumper as his number one arsenal. He has one of the best mid-range J's in the game.
And they don't like seeing that because they like to see 3-point shots, apparently. That's what they do. And what Shea did, we can acknowledge that, and we can also acknowledge that all-time great finals team? No, but people don't have to disrespect them by saying, "Oh, they got lucky. They won because of injury. Oh, they ain't that good." They won 68 games this year. They literally did not trade for a single superstar. They built that team from the ground up. They got rid of KD. They got rid of Westbrook. They built it from the ground up. They turned Paul George into Jalen Williams, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, four more picks that are yet to even be announced, Chet Holmgren, just off the Paul George trade. They built that team from the
You can
ground
thank
up.
the Clippers for that, because the Clippers sent them everybody that the Thunder needed to build that team. And OKC, and the one thing I'll say on this as well, OKC, who knows if they'll be back here, winning another championship. But the one thing that the Thunder have going for them, guys, is they are young. They are young. They are the second youngest team since the 1977 Portland Trailblazers to win it all.
And that's why everybody was talking about it yesterday, and I agree. If there's any dynasty to replicate what Golden State did, it could be the Thunder because of their youth, because of how young they are. And guess what? You can't claim them being inexperienced no more. They've been to a game 7 in the finals. They done been to the finals. They've been to a game 7 against Jokic. I mean, they've been to 2 game 7s in the same playoff run against the MVP and against a very good, well-coached team in the Pacers. They got experience now. That's the scary part. There ain't nothing that they haven't seen yet. And let's not just say the Clippers gave them talent. They gave them the picks, but guess what? Sam Presti had to put in that damn work to scout.
Yes, he
Picked
did.
Darren Williams was a bum in Santa Clara who he found in the mud and said, you know what? You fit Shea. You fit right along with Shea. Just like Klay Thompson fit right along with Steph. They complement each other so well. And then Sam Presti went out and said, okay, we got our core. Now what I need some hard-nosed defenders. I need me a Lou Dort. I need me a Alex Caruso. I need guys who's not scared to get up in your ass and make a play, get the ball out, get turnovers. Because let's be honest, the Thunder's offense, like I said, people might not like it because it's nothing but ISO ball, but guess what? Most of their offense comes because of their defense. They force turnovers, they get out in transition, they score. That's their game. They hang their hat on the defensive end. And I will say this, they might not be an all-around, all-time great final team, but I bet your ass they're one of the top 5 defensive teams in the last 50 years. I promise you. I mean, they're up there with the '06 Pistons. And you know what? If you don't like the OKC Thunder, how they play, you better not like the '06 Pistons because they played the same way. Their offense is a lot to be desired. They average 82 points a game. But guess what? They're going to lock your ass up. And that's exactly what the Thunder play like. They got their one guy who's going to be their bucket getter, and they hang their hat on locking players down, getting stops, getting rebounds, getting in transition. And guess what? If you look at a perfect team in the NBA, at least as far as this season, the OKC's it, because look at the boxes. Got to have size. They got 2 7-footers starting. Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein, who the Knicks should have never let walk. 2 7-footers. Check. You got your MVP caliber bucket getter. Check. Shea. You got a number 2 scoring option. Check. J-Dub. You got a bench. You got depth. Check. You got defense. Check. Alex Caruso, Lou Dort. Shea. Check. What is there not to be checked? We can acknowledge that what they did for one season was pretty damn special. I mean, there's only been like 4 other guys in NBA history that has won the scoring title, the MVP, number 1 seed in the West, and win the finals.
And Gilgeous-Alexander can put his name right there with some of the greatest players to do it. I mean, Michael did it.
Yep, that list is pretty small. And
it is. And it's very interesting to see what happens, because the Thunder, they're going to probably make some moves in the offseason, with some more draft picks, and who knows, what other maybe future stars or role players that they can find in this draft. And
well, this offseason, they're about to blow some money, because Shea Gilgeous is now he is extension eligible, and he's about to get $80 million a year. Jalen Williams is now extension eligible this summer. Chet Holmgren is extension eligible this summer. So they about to have some hundreds and hundreds of $1 million spent. Well spent, obviously, but they're about to spend some money this summer.
Yes, they are. And congratulations to the Oklahoma City Thunder winning their first championship since they moved from Seattle in 2008. And we shall see what they do.
I will say one more thing, though, about this. And I agree with Kendrick Perkins for the first time ever. He said it was right. If they win the championship, he said that Shea Gilgeous would automatically pass Kevin Durant as the greatest Thunder player of all time. And I agree. The reason why, he's won MVP. Durant's won one MVP. He's had scoring title. He's going to win the scoring title, just like Durant. The only difference is Durant couldn't deliver a championship to their small market. No matter up 3-1 on the Warriors, blew it, and then went to the Warriors. Shea delivered a championship to that small market team. So that holds more weight for a small market team to win a championship because of Shea. And to me, he's the best Thunder player of all time. He's not better than Kevin Durant all time, but he's the greatest Thunder player of all time.
Absolutely. And it's going to be a very, very, very busy offseason when we get that underway next week. Now, before we move to the NFL, I do want to bring this up real quick in regards to the Stanley Cup Finals from last week. Edmonton Oilers, shame on you for not even giving a damn and not showing up in Game 6 on the road. I mean, what in the blue hell was that? Go ahead.
Also, too, Steve, 3 words. Fuck Evander Kane.
Asshole.
You with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left decide to go ahead because you got hit with a minor penalty. You decide to go ahead, go to the same player that you got the penalty on, and then smack him in the chest with the stick, earning yourself a 10-minute unprofessional conduct penalty. And not only that, you're so pissed off that you refuse, or your team pulls you from the handshake line, because Lord knows when you get on that ice to shake hands with the Florida Panthers, there's going to be a war. So guess what? Edmonton didn't show up, like you said. They literally did not show up at all. It's like watching the Cleveland Cavaliers when they played in the NBA playoffs. They didn't show up either. But dude, it was a sad state of affairs. Like, first of all, their goalie should be either released or traded, because he
terrible.
Downright couldn't.
Terrible.
He couldn't stop a puck. He couldn't stop a puck if it was 3 feet away. Then also the unprofessionalism from Evander Kane. And then also the fact too, Florida was just unstoppable. Florida has been unstoppable since almost the first series. And let me tell you, this team, the Florida Panthers, back-to-back Stanley Cup championships, they're turning into another dynasty.
Yep.
They're turning into a modern dynasty, very similar to what the Blackhawks did back in 2010, 2013, and 2015.
Very similar to what the Detroit Red Wings did all those years, winning those Stanley Cups.
Absolutely.
But shame on you, Edmund. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead and finish your dissertation on the Edmonton Oilers, because I want to hear this.
I mean, it is just unreal how, again, and like we talked about with these finals, anybody can win on their home floor or home ice. Edmonton has done it. Florida has done it. To not even show up on the road and to have a shot, if you go on the road and win one game, you have Game 7 on your home ice in front of your countrymen and women going to the game, supporting you. But instead, you show up and you laid one of the biggest eggs in a championship closeout game, trailing in the series. At least Indiana showed up and played and tried. The Oilers didn't even show up to even play. Physically, their bodies were there, but mentally, they weren't there because you got to be in the game in order to try. Your head has to be in the game mentally to, okay, we might be down, but we're going to go out here. We're going to give it our best. They could not score. They could not stop the puck, from getting into their end of the ice of the zone. Florida had every clear shot to score. And when they did, they did. I mean, we said going into this series that Bobrovsky was going to be one of the hardest goalies to stop, and we were proven correct once again. Bobrovsky, every time he was defending the Panthers' goal, he was swatting every shot that Edmonton attempted, pretty much. The only time that Edmonton scored on Bobrovsky is when they got out and transitioned at the return over, and they scored real quick. Or they moved swiftly around the ice around him to score. It was all on the timing. And Edmonton just didn't get the memo. I mean, and who would have thought this? And as we were watching this game in game 4, they put in their second goalie after Skinner was getting just his shit handed to him. He gave up 3 consecutive goals and put in the backup goalie. And ironically, he gave up 1 goal. 1 freaking goal the rest of the series. But no, they got to put in the starter, and he got torched every single time. They got outscored in the first period of this series badly. All because their starting goalie couldn't stop the puck if his life was on the line. Just complete garbage. Complete garbage. And the lack of sportsmanship by Kane is just garbage. I mean, when Indiana lost that 7th game, they showed respect to the Thunder. They showed class and dignity. Yeah, it sucks that Tyrese went out with the torn Achilles. But unlike Kane, Indiana showed class and respect to the team that beat them for the championship. Yeah, it's a hard pill to swallow. But that happens. You can't win them all. Hell, sometimes you have to lose one to win one. And if I'm Connor McDavid, I am ashamed of the rest of my team that did not even show up in game 6. I mean, now it's almost like McDavid's going to have to pull a John Cena and sell his soul to the devil himself in order to lift the Stanley Cup. I mean, shame on you, Edmonton, for not even showing up. It's like you lay down in the fetal position and you quit. Congratulations to the Florida Panthers on back-to-back Stanley Cup championships.
Yes. And on that team, Brad Marchand ended up winning his 2nd Stanley Cup as a player. He won it before. I believe it was with Boston. And then he wins it again, this time with Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Since we're talking about hockey, I do want to recognize that today the Hockey Hall of Fame announced its list of inductees for this year. We start off with the builders, which are basically the managers, office people, coaches, the people that are basically behind on ice to a degree and behind the scenes. So those people include Jack Parker, and Danielle Savago, who are part of the builders. Then you go to players. You have famous female hockey player Jennifer Botterill. You got legendary Boston Bruins Zdeno Chara. Another famous female hockey player, Team USA member Brianna Decker. You have Alexander Mogilny. You have legendary San Jose Shark, Joe Thornton, and 3-time Stanley Cup champion, Duncan Keith from the Chicago Blackhawks.
Nice.
Congratulations to all those guys and gals who are going into the Pro Hockey Hall of Fame later this year. Now let's go ahead and move on to the NFL.
Yep. And the news came down today, and this guy seems to make the news all the freaking time. Yes, we're talking about Aaron Rodgers. Wow, what a shocker.
I thought you were gonna say Antonio Brown.
No, we're not talking about that clown because obviously they're out for an arrest warrant for him. And he's going to be behind the clink probably sooner rather than later. But Aaron Rodgers has, in the media once again, he was on the Pat McAfee show and saying more than likely this is going to be his final year. And he says, what a way to cap off a career, 20 years in the NFL of being with one of the most prestigious franchises, that that wants you to win, basically. And I'm like, dude, you have all the talent in the world.
But like I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The reason why Aaron Rodgers wants to retire after this one season with the Steelers is because he doesn't want to face Mike Thomas Fury once Rodgers gives him his first losing season as a head coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just saying.
I mean, Mike Tomlin, who would have thought the guy that replaces one of the best coaches in Bill Cowher in the Pittsburgh Steelers, a non-losing season could happen now because you got a 40-plus-year-old Aaron Rodgers at the starting quarterback position. And Mr. Rodgers, I have to inform you, sir, that Father Time is undefeated. Thank you very much.
They'd be better off starting Mason Rudolph.
Rudolph, sorry.
Aaron Rodgers.
Mason Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. Yeah.
Let Aaron Rodgers go back to his dark hole with the psychedelic drugs and live the rest of his life.
Has Aaron Rodgers been listening to too much Pink Floyd? Like, come on. Just come on.
Aaron Rodgers is a fucking idiot. I'm sorry, but that dude needs to get. I'm sorry, but this dude needs to just retire. Period. That's just me hating on him because I'm a Bears fan, and he made my Bears his bitch for fucking like 18 fucking seasons. So I'm still gonna hate him.
But here's the funny part. Now the Ravens, the Bengals could make him their bitch. And
I'm about to go full Tommy Dreamer and wear a hat every weekend.
But you know what's also funny? Aaron Rodgers, obviously the Browns don't have a quarterback. If the Browns started Myles Garrett at quarterback, Aaron Rodgers would be the worst quarterback in that division.
Why? Because Garrett's going to swing the helmet at him?
At least he's throwing something. Aaron Rodgers ain't throwing shit.
Yes. And there's gonna be the media out there. Oh, Aaron Rodgers goes to the Steelers. They got a shot to go to the Super Bowl. No, you don't. Stop living in fantasy land. Aaron, not happening, Captain.
They're going to a bowl, all right. They're going to their toilet bowl after their season ends.
Same old shit, different toilet.
Same old shit, no toilet paper for them.
Oh, speaking of that, there was a funny meme on the internet that talked about if Iran wants to attack the U.S., there's a perfect target zone for them to attack.
AT&T Stadium.
And it was a satellite
AT&T
shot.
Stadium, yes.
Oh.
So we're on that. I seen another meme talking. Hey,
Jesus.
Speaking of that, while we're on that, there was another meme talking about. I know you guys probably seen Iran retaliated and tried to shoot at the U.S. Military base that was in Iraq, and it got intercepted by the U.S. military. So now Iran, the country, will be now known as Dak Prescott because they both throw interceptions. Everything's getting intercepted. So now that country will be Dak Prescott. Or we're going to nickname it, I ran a touchdown back because it got intercepted.
It all comes back to sports. I love it.
Oh, wait a minute. What's this I'm hearing? Oh, it appears that Carolina Panthers owner David Tepper and Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones are going to be used as human shields.
Shields.
This just in: Beverly Hills 90210, Cleveland Browns 3.
Hey, I seen another funny one talking about, well, I ran, listen, it was like, I won the coin toss and elected to receive. Boom!
Speaking of bombs, this just in: report came in that the industrial man's buttocks were blown off in an industrial accident. Doctors report no end in sight.
Oof.
Ooh.
All right, back to the Aaron Rodgers trashing. No, but dude, it's nuts. Look, he ain't gonna do nothing for this team. I'm sorry, but the Steelers are gonna sink. So they're gonna sink so bad. They're gonna have to call them AEW Dark. But
Since we're talking about overrated players that are trash, I want to bring up something too. Trayvon Diggs went on the radio show today in Dallas on the FM.
Oh no!
And he said that they were definitely winning 13 to 14 games, that this was their year for real this time. He said,
Don't make me laugh.
They will walk on to the Super Bowl and hang that banner. I said, oh, here we go. And it begins. And
Here's the first snap and the season's over.
By the way, Adam Schefter's not busy when he's tweeting fucking Shams Charania as breaking news in the world of the NBA.
Schefter's bored. It's an Achilles tear for Indiana guard Tyrese Halliburton. Thanks, Sherlock. Shams has already told us that. We don't need your confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Schefter, stick to the NFL where you belong, buddy.
Look at this guy.
Hey, yeah.
Here's a guy.
Yeah, here's a guy.
Here's a guy.
Well, if they would put him in Madden, I would love it.
Oh, God, no.
The ball in the snow. Let's see what he does.
Dude, I'm literally scrolling through Adam Schefter's Twitter. I've seen more basketball news on his Twitter than I see fucking football news. I'm literally seeing retweets from Shams Charania over fucking his own reports. The only thing I've seen so far was Travis Hunter officially signed his 4-year guarantee contract with the Jacksonville last place Jags.
Yeah, it's a slow day at the office when Adam is retweeting other sports.
And other related news, Shedeur Sanders was cited twice for speeding this month.
Yep.
And also to CJ Mosley.
Apparently driving 91 in the 65 and then driving 101 in the 60.
Dang.
Sounds like the fucking temperature and dew point right now in my fucking area. 91 and 65, 101 and 62. It's okay. Fuck.
Wow.
We didn't talk about, I think the news broke. Did we talk about the sale of the Lakers?
Oh, thank you for bringing that up.
Remember the Buss family entered an agreement of selling their majority ownership to Mark Walter, the CEO and chairman of the diversified holding company TWG Global, who I believe also owns other franchises. He's buying the team for a record $10 billion, which is the most for any sports franchise in history.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you right now, if the Lakers can get bought out for $10 billion, or the Lakers can be sold for $10 billion, it will not surprise me if whenever, and I mean this as a big whenever. Whenever Jerry Jones finally decides he wants to sell the Cowboys, it won't surprise me if he tries to sell it for $20 billion at this point.
And how ironic would it be if Jerry Jones did sell the Cowboys to somebody else and they start winning?
Yeah,
Well,
because they would give it to
I
somebody
mean,
who would actually gives a fuck.
well, technically that now has happened in the NFL because keep in mind, my Commanders were in that spot. Remember?
Mm-hmm. You
I
get
mean, we saw the team, got us a new owner, and look what we did. Won 12 games last year.
yep.
That was one thing I forgot that happened this week was the big sale, and I don't know much about Mark Walter, outside of the few things that I did learn from Shams. Um, I think he owns other sports franchises, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe he's in the process of owning other sports franchises. I'm trying to scroll back through his Twitter feed right now to see if I can find the story of the sale. That way I can figure it out. Here it is.
Yeah, he is let's see, CEO of Guggenheim Partners. More than $325 billion in assets. Dear Lord.
Wow.
He is the primary owner and chairman of the LA Dodgers as well as the WNBA's Los Angeles Sparks.
Well, he says right here that they have interests in multiple sports organizations. They don't have, including the Dodgers, Sparks, Premier League club Chelsea, and a professional women's hockey league. He also he also owns TWG Motorsports or TWG Motorsports. He owns several auto racing teams, including Cadillac Formula One. Also, Jeannie Buss will retain her role as governor of the franchise once the sale is complete. So there's that. I don't have anything else in the world of NFL because it's been a slow. Obviously, you said the NFL draft is this week, right?
NBA.
NBA.
Okay. Also NHL draft.
It's starting tomorrow night.
Okay, and then we have the NHL draft on Friday as well. And
yes.
And we also have a little birdie report that for the San Jose Sharks, doing the first two picks will be Bailey.
Very cool.
Nice.
Some WWE representation at the thing, and I'm sure if things work out, if he's not busy on SmackDown in Riyadh, well, yeah, he will be busy at SmackDown in Riyadh. So I was hoping that CM Punk would be able to do the picks for the Blackhawks, but he's going to be in Riyadh, obviously, for the show this weekend for Night of Champions.
Well, actually, let's talk about that for a minute because apparently, I'm trying to remember who all it was, but I know the United Arab Emirates, as well as everybody from Saudi Arabia and Qatar, have suspended all incoming flights. So it makes me wonder if eventually they're going to wind up canceling Night of Champions.
No, because after the little bit of an issue between Iran and Israel yesterday over the ceasefire is back on and all Arab spaces are back open.
Okay. I haven't seen any updates as far as that's concerned. So
yeah, all airspaces are back open. So WWE is free and clear to go to Saudi Arabia to do and Friday Night SmackDown.
Yeah, I
sounds
also
good.
Even if it was like I've seen it all week, people questioning like, is it a safety hazard? Personally, I don't believe it is because let's just say if Iran was dumb enough to blow up or like try something at Night of Champions, like they would not only have a problem with United States because we bombed our people, they would now have beef with Saudi Arabia, and that's another country that
They
would.
would. That's true.
Why get into deeper shit? I think common sense says just leave it alone. So I don't believe that was really a true hazard.
No, because their issue is with Israel. The only reason
Yes.
Saudi would even think about it is as a security measure to make sure that any flights coming near their area were safe from any attacks from Iran. So that was the only reason why they were doing that. But all the airspaces are back open as of now, and a ceasefire is currently underway, and are keeping to it this time instead of what Iran did yesterday, which was after the ceasefire was announced, they fired more missiles at Israel. So
Yeah.
I think
That's like telling two toddlers to quit fighting, and all of a sudden they always still having the last.
Mm-hmm.
You dummy, you big dummy.
Yeah. And this is as far as we're going to talk about this stuff on the show, because we don't talk about this stuff. But yeah, hopefully, hopefully everybody, keeps their distance and doesn't do any more things. Because that's the last thing we need is, more wars and stuff like that. Like it's not the answer. And hopefully that everybody keeps their word and does not fire any more, shots and bombs and stuff like that. And just, all we want is peace. And this is why we do this show, because, we love doing this show, and we love coming on here and cutting up and having a good time and talking about sports and a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and
I do this show to entertain you poor bastards. And Kevin.
Keep in mind, Ezra, you're one of them too.
Yeah.
You're one of them too.
I'm not mid. But I want to throw out some other news I just found out, and that is that the $1.5 billion sale of the Timberwolves and the Lynx is officially done. So now 100% of the ownership for the franchises, and especially the Minnesota Timberwolves, will now be with that new investment group led by e-commerce entrepreneur Mark Lore and, of course, A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez.
Interesting.
Alex Rodriguez holding the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Hopefully there'll be no scandals happening, Mr. A-Rod. Like, come on. That we don't need another controversial move by Mr. Rodriguez, because that's the last thing we need is more controversy with A-Rod. And I don't think he wants that either. I mean, it's interesting because like all these teams selling their franchises to other owners. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, the Lakers.
Well, here's the thing too, is that these other owners have a lot more money that they could put into, rebuild projects. They could put into additions and renovating the stadium, adding new features, adding new things that they didn't have before, whether it's new lighting, better Wi-Fi, better stuff for the concessions. It's, that's what a lot of these guys buy it for. They're not, of course, they want to build a great franchise, great team, but that's where the general manager falls in line. That's where the executive, of operations goes. That's where the coaches come in. When you talk about an owner, yes, they want a great team to help keep the people coming in the door, but also when they're entrepreneurs or big, owners of tech companies or man-made CEOs who have a ton of money, they're going to want to make that place. Look what they did with the new Intuit Dome.
Mm-hmm.
That is the most, outside of the Sphere, that is the most technologically advanced stadium in the entire sports world.
And that just begs the question, guys. Will the Lakers update the Crypto.com arena? Because even when it was the Staples Center, all that it really changed was the name of the building and the sponsorship. I'm wondering now, with the sale of the Los Angeles Lakers, are they finally going to upgrade the building?
That's why I want fucking Jerry Reinsdorf to fucking sell the White Sox. But yeah, it could. It's a possibility. It just depends on what the next step's going to be. We don't know what Mark Walter's going to do. Just like we don't know what A-Rod and this entrepreneur Mark Lore is going to do. It's going to be up to them what they're willing to spend and what they're willing to do to upgrade. Whether it's the look of the stadium on the outside, the look of the stadium on the inside. Are they going to add things to it like betting rooms? Like I'll give you an example: the United Center, home of the Chicago Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
They have inside that building, they have great concessions and all, but they also have an area where you could go in, have a drink, and bet on the games. You could go in there and bet on live sports inside United Center. I forget who it's sponsored by, if it's sponsored by DraftKings or Underdog or whatever, but it's sponsored by one of the big betting companies. And you could go in there, sit down, buy yourself something to drink, and go in there and place bets. They had it open when I was there last time for AEW. So, there could be additions like that added to where they have sports books open where you can go in there and bet. You never know. It's going to be up to the ownership what they do. Steven, anything else you got? I mean, outside of, I don't know, Joey's got anything in the major leagues he wants to really get into.
Not really. Atlanta Braves still suck.
And while we're at it too, the Mets suck as well.
Sorry, Elder. And the Yankees.
Well, I mean, at least the Mets still have a better record than the Braves.
Yeah, and I think they have a better record than the Yankees, actually.
And they have a better run scoring numbers than the Yankees do in the last several games. Jeez.
Sorry, Neil. But yeah, so there's really nothing I could say that's like groundbreaking or anything from that era. So I guess that's all I have. I mean, you guys have anything else? Steven, since you're the host.
I think I'm good. I think I got nothing. I'm good.
Joey?
I'm good.
I'm sure Kevin's good too. So I'll give my final thoughts real quick. It was great to jump on with you guys. I'm glad I could do it through the start of the show. Thank God things worked out with the staying cool here at the house. It's great to be on the show. It's great to be on the show sometimes just as a side piece with Steven hosting sometimes, and it's cool when that happens. So appreciate you guys, appreciate everybody watching, of course, on demand and live. You can find us on the social medias, and I'm sure Steven will give all that information. And we got a great week of pro wrestling coming up, of course, leading into Night of Champions. CM Punk, John Cena for the WWE title in the main event. NXT is going on right now. Trick Williams just defended the NXT title over Josh Briggs. And
I'm sure Booker T blew his load once again.
I muted it as soon as Trick Williams music hit. So I'm glad I didn't hear it. But just want to say that, and also want to say one thing, and I want you guys, if you're fans of wrestling, to use this. Hashtag busted open 24/7. And
yes.
And that's it for me. Thank you to everybody. Appreciate it. We'll see you next week. Joey, you're up.
Once again, another great show with you guys. Was like I said at the beginning of the show, it was great being back in the co-host chair this week after being out last week due to some stuff going on. And now that basketball is over, baseball's kicking into high gear. Who the heck am I kidding? Come on, football. Hurry up and come back. I miss you.
Oh, and also, real quick, I do want to bring this up. Down the line, maybe in the next several weeks or so, whenever we decide to do it, at some point, I brought up this at following the finals. maybe we can come up with our list of our top 5 favorite teams that have won championships in the NBA.
I know we can do that next week if you want.
Okay.
Sound good to me.
I think we can do that. Yeah, that'd be fun. Top 5 favorite championship teams. I like it.
I had to walk away for a second. What was the
I like
idea?
Top 5 favorite championship teams in the NBA.
Ooh, I like that idea. Definitely, yes.
Yep, top 5 favorite championship teams in the NBA. And I guess we'll do that next week.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. So looking forward to doing that next week. Kevin, final thoughts?
Good to talk sports again this week. Be back on the show, and good. Everybody's trying to stay cool, and now that the finals is over, it's just a long wait till football comes back. All for the next 3 months, we're all gonna be like, we miss football, we miss football, we miss football, and then September comes, we're gonna be screaming at our TVs at our favorite team. What the fuck are you doing? So, but
Yes.
it's always good leading up to it. But hope everybody has a good rest of their week. Stay safe and please stay cool, because here where it's so damn hot, it's hotter than a weenie dog. It's hotter than a weenie dog's nutsack and a jalapeno farm right now. So everybody just stay cool, stay hydrated, and stay safe.
And speaking of hot, I learned one thing about Kevin. He does not like spicy food. Give it to me all day long, damn it.
No, thank you.
Oh yeah, great show with you guys. I thank you to Don here in the chat, contributing here in the comments. So with some great comments there in the chat. Also, thank you to those that tune in on demand as well. Looking forward to being back on here with you guys next week as we bring to you our top 5 favorite NBA championship teams of all time. And that'll be a lot of fun, a little bit of an assignment for us to work on for next week. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And looking forward to be back on here with you guys next week, as next week it is the beginning of the new month, July the 1st. Hard to believe that we will be officially hitting the halfway mark of 2025 next Tuesday. It is absolutely crazy.
It'll be
crazy.
2 days. It'll be 2 days before my birthday as well.
Yup. 2 days before
Very nice.
your birthday. And also those for us rock geeks. Very excited that the Black Sabbath Ozzy Osbourne All-Star, because that's pretty much what it is being streamed worldwide live. Oh, a Scorpions reference. Who would have thought that? That just popped out of my mouth. That was a nice little reference by me. That's going to be awesome with all those bands, Metallica, Pantera, God, all kinds of bands, Slayer, Hailstorm. Just lots of different people are going to be there. Special guests, Jakey Lee and Steven Tyler, and other bands like Rival Sons and Guns N' Roses, and a whole bunch of bands are going to be playing in England on July the 5th. And if you are not in the country of the UK, you can stream this show as it happens live. And that'll be an all-day event, basically. And looking forward to being back on here with you guys next week as we bring to you, like I said, our top 5 favorite teams in the NBA that have won championships. That will be a lot of fun. And
hey, Steven, real quick before we do cut off the air, whenever it's time to do the NFL conference previews, we're still going to do the same that we did last year, right? 2 conferences per week.
You got it. North, South, East, and West.
Well, then in that case, I was just looking at the calendar as to when we should be starting the NFL conference previews, and it looks like I have a date pinpointed. Tuesday, August the 5th.
Very cool.
Tuesday, August the 5th. Because I figured we can do those 4 weeks in August to do the conference previews. And then literally the first Tuesday in September, we can do our playoffs predictions.
You got it. You got it. AFC North and South, as we always start. And then the next week is AFC East and West. And then vice versa for the NFC onwards down.
So yeah, for everybody tuning in, Tuesday, August the 5th, which will be here before we know it, we will be starting our NFL conference previews.
God, hard to believe. The NFL regular season will be here just around the corner. Before we even know it, I want to thank my fine co-hosts joining me here tonight. Thank you to Kevin. Thank you to you, Ezra. Thanks to Joey. Thanks to everybody being here today. Everybody, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week with your family and your friends this week. Stay cool out there and stay safe out there, everybody. Hope you have a great rest of your week, and you can follow us on our individual channels on Twitter. Kevin, you can follow him at ThatNinerGang10. You can follow Ezra down there at Deadman469, and you can also follow Joey down there at Roll_Tide1992. You can follow our boy Hijacker Mike at Mr. Mac on Twitter, who does our fine intro music and stuff like that. Shout outs to our guy, and also follow his cigar channel, Smoke in the Bay, THA Bay. You can follow that on Twitter and the YouTube page if you are a cigar aficionado. And we have had a great time here tonight. You can follow me on Twitter at Steven_Wyand. You can follow us on Twitter or X at Owen_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show, where we are live right now on YouTube.com/Nation Sports Show. Be sure to like, share, subscribe to all your family and your friends that love the world of sports. And you can also follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner, Facebook, Instagram, and the YouTube channels, all at the Nation's Corner. And they are live on most Saturday nights where it's all right for fighting, all right for a little bit of wrestling talk. RASSLIN, that's wrestling. And also, while we're at it with wrestling, hashtag busted open 24/7, baby. It has to happen. It needs to happen. SiriusXM, you have one job. Do not screw the pooch. Busted Open needs their own channel 24/7. And with that being said, we are done for the day. So with that being said, for K-Rod, Kevin Roy, for JT, Joey Thornton, for Ezra Vickery, I've been your host for this evening, Stephen Wyand. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your week with your family and your friends. Stay cool. Stay dry. See you next week. Same time, same YouTube by God channel. Have a great rest of your week and upcoming weekend. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Turn me up.